So,
I do want to say we actually haven't seen T1 on the Monkey King at all.
ooh,
We actually haven't seen it. That's nice.
Yeah, so they have
back
not
at
picked it up.
TI, Zephyr played it. That's
I
yeah.
should specify, sorry. We haven't seen T1 play Monkey King in this DPC, first half and second half.
Mm.
That doesn't surprise me particularly, but it is something that works to their playstyle. If they put it on support, it's they're like the prod from far range, and if you're drawing out games, like Monkey's very good at split pushing with the spring.
I'm really surprised they didn't get rid of the Puck actually on Fnatic. Whenever I see a Queen of Pain, I think Puck, Lina, they're the ones that you need to get rid of.
The matchup's not bad. Queen can lane into her, and she has tools against Puck.
I'm not talking about the laning phase. I'm talking about beyond that, like pre-BKBs. What are you going to do to be able to
I mean,
counter
it's
it?
fine because you're going Kaya Sand, so
Mm.
you're having more status resistance against the coil. You get shard. You have a bit silence that you can use against Puck. Even with Lion, I think Lion is a fantastic hero against Puck.
Yeah,
So they're
true,
like, what's the
actually.
point of banning Puck when we have so many tools already to deal with it?
Yeah, no, I forgot about the Lions, so I do agree
Yeah.
with that actually. I was kind of considering something like a Spirit Breaker for Fnatic to come out here, just because it's good against the Weaver. It allows you to set up for the burst damage. Monkey King can't just jump around in the trees the entire time as long as you get the initial charge on. And hell, even for the Puck, right? As long as you get that Shadow Blade pre-Lion having Blink Dagger, you don't. Well, you can potentially have a little bit of trouble just locking down onto Carl's Puck.
I was gonna say, if we're playing into Monkey King, I think rather than Spirit Breaker, which is like, if I was picking Spirit Breaker, I would want to pair it with something like Grimstroke in lane.
Mm.
But I'm happier seeing Beastmaster because I just think it runs better as a hero. Maybe they could even Luna's still in the pool. Maybe they want a double core here, but then you're revealing everything.
Mm.
They could just take another support. Rubik an extra like. They have like 3 ways now of initiating it instantly on Puck, so I think it's a really hard Puck game.
Yeah, so this is most likely going to be the POS 5 Weaver coming out here, and then the POS 4 Monkey King. I mean, that's kind of why I was thinking more the Spirit Breaker, just because, again, like, Savage can play the Monkey King, of course, but it just didn't feel like the strongest lane. But you've got that favorable matchup that you really like, the Phantom Assassin into the Beastmaster, plenty of ways to deal with the Hawks, means that he's not able to get quite as much farm, or even if he is, you've got a good amount of farm and levels on the PA, because those boards, they give a lot of XP.
Yeah, PA is like the most favorite carry matchup into Beastmaster in lane. Like that's commonly picked because people like Naga too, but it's a bit, that hero is oof. Yeah. But yeah, I wouldn't have liked Spirit Breaker that much because they could have just put Monkey on carry. I also think Weaver as a carry is not like the worst at dealing with him.
We just saw Mizu beat it with the in that Division 2 tiebreaker though, and we've got a Luna. I mean, this is an aggressive draft coming through.
They just don't ban Luna, and I'm like thinking I think everyone's favorite carry with Beastmaster seems to be Luna.
Yeah.
Like
Luna is just very in season at the moment.
Auras on
general.
auras on auras. That's
Yeah.
basically what you want. And it also gives you some of that more sustained damage that the Queen of Pain lacks. Of course, you've got the burst still with the Lion, the Queen of Pain. Hell, even the Rubik Fade Bolt is a good amount of damage, especially with whatever you're able to steal. But yeah, Luna just means that you have someone to rally around in a lot of these engagements, and you're going to have a vision advantage as well with the Beastmaster as soon as he gets that the Hawk. And once Lion has the Blink Dagger, then you are able to get the better start to a lot of these team fights.
yeah, Fnatic is hard to play into right now. I think T1 struggle a little bit. Like PA really likes to farm for like at least a small while to get IMs. She's not that strong until she has 1 to 2 IMs. Meanwhile, Fnatic, I feel like they can kind of take any grouping of hero on their team and they can make a play, any play. They're like, okay, Luna, just come ball. Let's just push safe lane tower. Rubik Lion, let's go with Quap and let's go gank PA in her triangle. Like they can make so many plays with any combination of heroes. And then you reach that timing like around, I'd say around 20-ish minutes, where you're like, okay, now we go smoke. We utilize ward vision, Beastmaster Hawk vision. We get a pick off. We go Roche, and their Roche fighting is like they have really good like poking spells in the Luna Beam, the Fade Bolting, the Lion. if they try and commit onto them.
Yep.
Like they have punish. It's like their lineup is so nice.
They're good at fighting in little choke points as well on Fnatic, and what they actually end up spirit breaking for themselves. I was kind of wondering what they were going to go with for Cuckoo there, because a lot of his main picks have been removed from the pool, and Luna does a very good job against a lot of those heroes that were still remaining. But Spirit Breaker, it means that you can, I mean, potentially respond to a lot of the early on aggression, but I feel like this is one of those games where you need to enable Cuckoo to be a bit more of that farming style so that you're able to actually have a big impact on it, and it's going to be up to Carl to really just continuously shove out lanes, not necessarily take team fights, but look to create skirmishes to allow Cuckoo to get at least the Shadow Blade, and then he can look to contribute.
Yeah, this is, I think, the right pick. They're trying to match the tempo of Fnatic instead of outscaling it or whatever. They're going to be able to just try and get as much farm as they can and then try and take nice fights. Defend towers is probably the name of their game until Savage is strong enough to fight and carry.
It's going to be a pretty action-packed game, and I'm looking forward to this to see if Fnatic can win this and come out on top of these tiebreakers. But we're going to head over to GoDz and John.
Thank you, wonderful panel. It's time now for Fnatic versus T1, John, and gotta say, some interesting drafts coming out. Nothing too crazy or out there when it comes to the picks, but something a little bit different. You've evolved, I see. You've gone from the Cyndaquil to the Quilava. I like your taste in Pokemon.
Yeah.
How are you doing? You're a little bit frozen there. Okay, you're back. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. You know how it is with my internet. Sometimes it turns into John X Pixel. But we've got a great match here, T1 versus Fnatic, keeping up the tiebreakers. And we saw Fnatic in that first series. Very close fight with SMG. Everyone's been talking about SMG's playstyle, and I think even T1 was also mentioning that. So this playstyle difference between T1 and Fnatic's a bit closer. I think all the teams seem to think that. Both teams play a bit more defensive, but when you look at the drafts, it does look like Fnatic is shooting for that early game. They get the Beastmaster, they got the Quap, they have the Luna for push. They've got a lot of early aggression. They have good lockdown with the Lion here as well. And I'm keen to see if Fnatic can hit that early spike, break through that defensive playstyle of T1, and punish them for maybe going for a slower game here.
All right, well, we're going to find out, because this is, taking a page out of SMG's book, at least with some of these heroes. They're the ones taking the Quap, the Beastmaster. It feels like, Beastmaster, this hero that can take over the early to mid game. You've just got to make sure you don't let the game drag on too much, which is maybe a little bit of what we saw with SMG. I don't think you can definitely just attribute that loss to draft or anything, but it was Fnatic kind of coming up in the clutch in the late game. So we'll see how this game goes. T1, they love their voice lines. We're seeing it during the draft. You even just tweeted out, Carl literally disconnects and reconnects just to spam more voice lines. He's like, this draft is boring. I need to spam lines. I got to do something.
Yep, you love it, and you're seeing that all chat here as well. Cuckoo giving the late happy birthday to Armel 2 days ago, and then he's saying his birthday gift is wrecking him in this game. So pretty harsh from Cuckoo, but he doesn't mince words with his friends. We'll see if Armel's going to be able to turn those words against Cuckoo. All of these guys are friends. It's friendly banter. Love to see it in Southeast Asia. And this should be, again, a close matchup. Playstyles are very similar, but Fnatic are looking to play faster. Game 1 was quicker for them. Early game was up-tempo. This one should be even further up-tempo with the draft on hand. As you mentioned, similar to SMG in Game 1. So see how it breaks out. It does look like there might be a bit of a scuffle for that bottom rune.
Yeah, will either team force this one? Fnatic making sure the Weaver doesn't go Shikuchi on in. They even throw out a Nerd Spike to make sure they get the rune, but he actually snuck on by and grabbed the enemy bounty rune. So Whitemon making some sneaky little moves early on.
Does help to set up for a nice early start here on the side of T1. Just really mobile in that Weaver. You don't really have the best lockdown to keep him down without the line around. So DJ just kind of trading with that Fade Bolt. Looking at that bot lane. No Parker down the line. And this is a lane that we've talked about before with a PA up against Beastmaster. You really favored PA in laning, and we did see that come out as well. Like, we just stand back, play with a dagger. You can burst down to Boris with a Phantom Strike as well, so you have ways of dealing with that. Jabs has gone for level 1 Wild Axis. I think that was down to trying to cut the trees of the Monkey King in that Rune Snipe, so maybe not having the Boris level 1 might hurt a bit. Does have the mana pool to at least harass out, and landing those axes onto Savage, a melee hero, going to be a little bit easier to do anyways. You still have some good presence here. There's only so much Whitemon can do. There are already early sentries being put down by DJ to cut off the Shukuchi plays. Let's see if that's going to be an issue for Whitemon later on.
Is this going to be... I don't think this is going to be a kill. They're doing so much damage. They force Zephyr down to like 100 health, make him use a salve. Definitely curious to see how that Beastmaster with the Axis goes, but this top lane seems like a lane where Fnatic can really roll over them. The double ranged hero against 2 melees is just problematic. Monkey King at least able to kind of close the gap using that Primal Spring and get some good damage up. So Johnuel, with all his spells on cooldown, Zephyr getting some good harass, and that's what you kind of need to do. But back to bottom, as well as keep an eye on this mid lane. So far, things... You know, we're seeing that heavy harass style in these lanes. Both teams looking to force out that enemy regen and, you know, play around their own region. They're diving in. This is it's the PA. This hero is just so strong in lane. With a hero like Weaver with those bugs, you can't stand your ground and kill those bugs. You got to keep running, and that means you've got minus armor building up. And for a PA, that's her bread and butter. You get minus armor, I'm going to jump on you with additional minus armor from the Blightstone, the Dagger, and Phantom Strike. This lane is so hard to play. This is like one of the best, like Weaver PA. Who would have thought this is one of the strongest lanes in Dota right now?
Yeah, it's just crazy, and they're using it really well on T1. They managed to get that D-ward on the sentry as well. Good placement out from Whitemon, knowing that's a very sneaky sentry spot that a lot of teams have been using against the Sport Weaver. So this is going to open up his angles a little bit more. They still have an extra sentry here from DJ, planting in the tree side near the large camp. Whitemon still has a response sentry, immediately finds it. So they're just cutting off all the info, giving the Weaver a lot of room to play with the Shukuchi, giving Savage the room he needs to farm. And this PA is going to get even harder to contest. And the Orb of Corrosion's coming in. So you have the slow, you have the minus armor. There's a lot that the PA can play with now with the dagger. And so far, it does look like the lanes are going well for T1. Even up top, Zephyr is just standing in the tree,
bottom lane
jumping
again.
in and clearing out.
They've gone in on jabs once more. They've killed him again. It's the same thing. They've gone for level 2 swarm. They're doubling down on these beetles, and I don't blame them with how well they're doing in this lane. They've already got Orb of Corrosion coming out for the PA.
It's just piling on that minus armor. And again, with the sentries cut off, there's just so much Whitemon can do. They have to invest so much on DJ to keep planting these counter sentries. And for a pos 4 versus pos 5 in that economy fight, you feel a lot better on the pos 5 to waste that. Cuckoo up top, though, does drop low to the double range. Managed to pin down the Spirit Breaker. Not much Zephyr can do to cut that movement off. So at the least, Fnatic's finding some of their own aggression up top. But it's really not enough to kind of make that difference from bot kind of disappear. Your farm rate here for Raven's a bit slower. He's not finding as much creeps. You have done a good job on our Monkey King. Zephyr is jumping around really well, just using that early level in the tree dance to its full potential. And it is hard to zone out Cuckoo. I mean, even a Monkey King's fairly tanky as well, so you can't fully zone them out. And I think even considering that dual melee against range, Zephyr's done a good job to mitigate some of that advantage. Getting an early rotation as well to try to snipe the water room, but a bit too late. So overall, it is looking like T1's managing to get that laning start they want. And if this does maintain, I think that mid-game spike Fnatic might want to hit might be thrown off a bit here.
Yeah. Feels like they may be relying on this Queen of Pain to make some early rotations, but usually when you look at Quap and Puck, it's the Puck who's the more effective roaming hero because of that Dreamcoil lockdown, but at least for Quap, you can play around that Sonic Wave. We'll see if that comes out later on. For now, not going to probably see those rotations start happening until that like 6-minute mark when the supports come mid for those runes. Bottom lane, Jabs has done a good job of settling things, but it's top lane where they've gone in on the Spirit Breaker. The Hex is there. Nice 2-hero Boundless Strike. He charges away to the creep wave, and Johnuel is dying to this Monkey King. He does have a Fairy Fire that's keeping him alive a bit longer. The blocks are there well enough to set an Earth Spike, and Zephyr will be forced back by the Luna. Raven's chasing, wants to do some more damage here. We have another Lucent Beam to get this kill. He's trying to juke in the trees. The Lucent Beam is going to find Zephyr, and one more right click. He gets the kill. Really well executed by Fnatic there to save Johnuel on the line and turn around and get that kill.
They're starting to get something in exchange. T1's having to invest in a lot of regen to maintain that aggression up top. But in that sort of movement, they are cutting Raven off from the creep wave. So he's not focusing in on farm. He's missing a couple of creeps here and there. That is giving your core and bot lane a little bit better of a time. So Savage is ending up getting this initial farm that you might not expect a PA to have over a Luna, just because Luna has really great wave clear potential and lots of right click to kind of get that done safely. I think for Fnatic now, they're going to have to start building up in that jungle. But the concern is, you're playing against Monkey, you're playing against Weaver with a Spirit Breaker Puck. There's a lot of mobility to hunt in that jungle. So they don't have the best room to build that up safely, and I think that threat of stacks being stolen is always there.
Armel, he's blinked in to secure the double damage room, but now his blink's on cooldown. Doesn't how gets the mana for the Sonic Wave for the one charges. Is he going to go for it? Looks like he's just going to die here. Even used the double damage room. Fnatic didn't have the numbers for this rune fight. They brought both supports, but Cuckoo came in for T1, making it a 4 versus 3. And that was a very greedy blink in to go for that rune. T1 punishing the Fnatic mid player. Armel going to be unhappy with himself for that one.
Yeah, it's just down to, again, that high mobility T1 has. Weaver can gap close really fast. Spirit Breaker can come in from anywhere on the map. Monkey King has the tree dance. You don't have that same mobility on your supports here for Fnatic. So it's easier for T1 to bring the numbers to bear and always work that aggression out. They're looking to rotate down bot now. You do have level 6 up in Savage. A quick coup de grace might be able to turn, especially, again, with all the minus armor in play here. That physical burst, even at level 6, it's substantial enough to cut through some of these softer targets.
They're just keeping tabs of Jabs, who's been forced back into his jungle early on. Good dire vision, at least scouting out all these T1 supports. Jabs is going to kind of see them rotating in. But this is a bit of a bait here. They rotate Armel. They're looking to try and take this fight here. Whitemon going to go down on a Sonic Wave, but Zephyr gets out of there. So a big commitment just to kill the support. Zephyr goes down, but I think Fnatic wanted at least both of these kills. They wanted to kill, ideally, both supports to make it worthwhile.
Yeah, and with that movement not lining up on those two supports, Parker, Savage gets so much time on the bot lane to just free farm. Like, the Beastmaster's not there to really zone out. You're not having the supports to try to line up for a kill. You just don't have anything to stop that initial build-up. And Savage, sure, the Luna's going to be able to outfarm you early on, especially with a fast build-up onto the Dragonlance, maybe a Mask of Madness even. But I think you've set Savage up well enough that his own build-up into the battlefield is not going to be too long. So that farm difference between Luna and PA is not going to last all that long in this game. And just that takes away a big item advantage that Raven might want to have, that they will need in these early pushes, in these early team fights. He's already pulling out of his top lane, knowing that maybe something's wrong here. Heroes are missing on the map. He's going to play in the jungle. The push potential of T1 isn't that strong, but they are still hunting.
Hunting for a lion. John Yuel gets almost back to his tier 2 tower. He gets charged up with the Boundless Strike. So they get the lion kill, and once again, as you kind of mentioned, they can kind of push out this Luna from the jungle, make her life a whole lot more difficult. As Fnatic struggling to find the space for Raven. They really just started applying some pressure, but until Jabs gets this Helm of the Dominator, they don't really have the best ability to do that. They're just trying to give him some solo XP and farm down bottom. He's got a nice double creep wave at his tower, so that's going to get him his level 6 as well as a Helm, I would hope, because without this, it just feels like Fnatic are unable to make too many plays.
They're just kind of limited in what they can do up against all this mobility, all this utility coming out from T1. They are holding their mid. They got the scan off. You know, someone's hanging the back line. Zephyr's there. Whitemon's kind of backing off. But they understand that T1 will want to run and gun. So they've got to be able to respond in time, protect them for bigger cores. This is time where T1's not farming the top lane. That's a lot of space out for the Luna.
Oh,
but they still control that
out
jungle.
A bit there, John. Well, we'll see. We'll get John back in just a second, but for now, T1 posturing around that mid lane, unable to find any catch. DJ, the support Rubik, just doing what he can to hold the lane. And now the Beastmaster, having maybe gotten enough out of this bottom lane, has the Helm coming out. They're going to actually bring Raven in, so using the Beastmaster with the Luna to take over this bottom T1 tower, but it does seem like T1 may want to defend this one. They TP the Weaver to the tier 2. 23 Savage is still nearby with the blur. He's invised up, undetected for now, but they want to fight this one. Hawk is being sent behind the tower to kind of see if anyone's here, and we'll see if any more TPs do come out, or if they just give this one up. It looks like it's going to be an uncontested tier 1 tower going the way of Fnatic. This is the play they've ideally wanted to make maybe 2 or 3 minutes ago, but with the slow Beastmaster start, they had to do it a little bit later.
I think you don't want to force that defense fight up against Beast. They will charge in to break up, though, but...
Yeah. John Yuel throws out Nurse Spike, but he's just losing armor with this bug on him. Nice roar into the Weaver. And John Yuel, he's been kept alive until the Dream Coil comes out. Coral doesn't have an orb for a couple of seconds, but does have an illusion rune to help pop him back to safety. So the two teams trade supports, and it looks like Fnatic going to just TP on out of there, send Armel top. It's immediately getting pinged out, but Fnatic kind of in a bit of a farming mode for a little bit.
I think
Armel's be careful. They're hunting him. Charge in. Puck's here to follow it up. Doesn't have the Dream Core, but will have a waning Rift. Gets the bash, and he's just dead.
All you have to do is let me in.
That's bad news for his game there. They just tracked him to that top lane, and we'll see what Fnatic's next play is, whether or not they try and bring Raven to some of these early pushes, or just play that, let's, 4 protect 1 style. Do you think we're going to see more of Raven, John, like kind of coming to some of these pushes, or does he just want to try and get some late game items going?
I think he wants to farm as much as possible. Like, if they do manage to go up to a tower, he's going to have to show up to get some damage off, but beyond that, you really don't want to overextend yourself onto Luna. So you're playing the jungle while the rest of T1's going for defensive plays. Get as much use out of that space as possible. T1, the one downside of this draft is they don't push too well. So they lose their bot tier 1, they can't trade top, they don't really have room to push for themselves. They're just smoking up for kills. They have to find these kills to stay in this game.
They're looking to do just that down bottom. On the T1 side, though, it's not Fnatic, but Fnatic are going to counterplay this. They come in with the lion, the finger being thrown out. They bring down Karl's puck. Big kill going the way of Fnatic. They need to find a way out of this one, perhaps at least for a few of their heroes. DJ managed to get himself back to safety. The Sonic Wave from Armel. It's off the mark. Weaver, he time-lapsed to dodge it, but he does time-lapse into an Earth Spike. Armel, he's had enough of this pesky Weaver. Will end up chasing him down, but they've traded 2 for 2, and they're going to lose more. Januel also going down, and Armel, all he can do is blink on out of there. Perhaps some pressure on the mid lane, but Raven doesn't want to stick around, knowing that a charge could come his way. So Fnatic, they kill the puck, but it comes at a pretty steep cost.
Yeah, they sacrifice 2 supports. I think in the end, Fnatic's still pretty happy with what they've found. Even losing Jabs, at least you are keeping Karl to an extent in check with that pickoff. But it is a cause of concern that Savage is showing up to these fights. His Battle Fury is almost done. Even though he's not farming the jungle as much, Raven's only 100 gold above. So your Luna's still not building into that item advantage that it would want to have here. It's going to take a lot more time for Raven to really be big. And I think for Raven, all he has to do is just keep playing where he can, staying away from these engagements as mentioned, build up as much as possible, because this aggression from T1, sure, it's not leading them to objectives, but they're keeping every other core that shows up from Fnatic in check. Like Armel for a while was at a 2-level deficit up against Karl. He's at a 1-level deficit now, but Karl's about to hit 12. And that's just how much more T1's getting from forcing these fights and winning these fights. They're swinging the EXP their way. They're getting some gold flowing their way. Not much of a gold advantage there, less than 1k. But Fnatic aren't able to capitalize on that push lineup they want. Like, they take the bot tier 1. They haven't pressured mid. They don't really want to play top. And with that mid still standing, that gives T1 this much room to still run around the map like it's theirs.
Yeah, and usually the expectation with the Beastmaster draft is they're the ones controlling the map, taking these early towers, invading the enemy jungle, and not doing so means this PA has just had plenty of time to farm up a Storm. It's on par with the Luna of all heroes, a hero that you'd expect to outfarm a PA, and that's before the Battle Fury even comes out. That's when 23 Savage is going to accelerate. He's going to farm even faster. You can stack up those Ancients as they've already done, maybe get a few more stacks, and this PA will very quickly skyrocket to a BKB and Desolator.
And it just comes down to the difference in map control. Like, you have these forward wards from T1 watching the back part of that top jungle. They've been contesting the triangle quite a fair bit. So Fnatic supports aren't comfy enough to build their own stacks up for the Luna. Whereas T1's got all the room in the world for Savage to just keep playing this game in his own triangle, build up the stacks for him, have him clear it out. Battle Fury flying out now, timely with his next stack on the Ancients. Going to be a lot of flash farm coming out for Savage while still maintaining presence across the map. They've just been playing with the charges and de-shoving the waves. There is a stolen charge on Zephyr, so he could be in a spot of trouble.
The axes missed. He threw them. They arced around the Monkey King and didn't chop the tree he was standing on. And well, Januel's been found in the trees. Not sure it would have necessarily gone their way if they committed a lot on the Monkey King, but it was just like a. That Jabs is new to the offlane. You don't play much support Beastmaster, which is the role he's coming from. So just a very small thing, that he's probably learned his his mistake there, and that's probably something we won't see happen again. You kind of got to angle those axes sometimes a bit.
Yeah. And that does buy a little bit more time for T1. You know, they find a kill that they probably shouldn't been able to find on the line, overextending, looking for that opportunity on the monkey. The side of Fnatic are still clumped up bot. They've got Hawks out to spot Carl.
Roar. Yep, they see him in the tree. Sonic Wave Scream. Is the damage going to be there? He throws out a Dream Coil. Coming in is DJ with the charge on Rubik, but the lift follow-up is there, and Carl will end up going down. Wukong's command being thrown out, but to no effect as Fnatic just walk away with a big kill.
Yeah, nice, juicy kill to take. The puck is a very significant one that they need to keep down. Carl has been doing a lot of work on the map, so they get good punishment off while also buying some space up top. They get a bit of a push going. They're surrounding Savage here.
Yeah, this would be a great kill. They even have the Eclipse coming out. Level 2 Lucent Beam, no problem. Raven, he's secured the kill. Charge from Cuckoo, looking for that revenge on the line, and you'll probably get this one. Trying to hold on to the ultimate, but well worth it for Fnatic. They're more than happy to give up their support to bring down the farm PA.
Such a big kill. Savage just maybe overextending, not expecting that movement out from Fnatic. They do have some forward wards now. They're watching the triangle with one ward, and they're watching their own jungle entrance in the lower areas of ramps with another. So they're protecting their Luna more in the top area. The build-up is coming through for Raven, not too far off from the Manta, flying out now. So he's got some ways to defend himself, especially from the silences that might come out from T1. And that should also lend a little bit more to the ability for Raven to split push, to join in on the objective crunch that Fnatic will want to bring out relatively soon. So you're hitting some good spikes there. You've got the Helm of the Overlord up on Jabs now. So he's got the Ancient Black Dragon to keep the wave shoved out. I think he would definitely prefer the Thunderhind for the attack speed bonus onto his Luna. But this is still great to just keep that split push going. And with all of these items up, Fnatic are still taking that aggressive posture on the bot jungle. With that tower advantage up, they're making great use of this side of the map, of securing that safe space to farm. Whereas for T1, they're kind of stuck in their triangle, kind of stuck as 4 or 5 together on mid, not getting as much movement out as they'd want to with this lineup.
Both teams trying to fight over these runes. They've caught the Monkey King. This time around, they do manage to break his tree with the 2-hero Earth Spike to follow up. Sonic Wave there as well. They bring down Zephyr and get the Spirit Breaker low, but they didn't have detection for the Shadow Blade, it looks like. So he gets away back to safety. Just the one kill, but Fnatic, as you kind of mentioned, just playing this map control game. If they can de-ward some of this Radiant Vision, which there's quite a lot of down in this bottom jungle, this map can start to look very dark and very small for T1. They've still got their Ancients being farmed by 23 Savage, but feels like the other 4 heroes are just trying to, you know, keep some control of this mid-side area of the map, particularly this mid-tier 1 tower. That's the big thing for T1, is trying to keep this mid-tier 1 alive, but perhaps more pressingly is this bottom tier 2. If they lose this one, they could just lose their outpost altogether, so it's not just the mid lane, it's also down bottom where they're going to have to keep defending.
They've got to keep that push in check from Fnatic. I think T1's place much less emphasis on their own push. Like the top tier 1 still standing, mid tier 1 from Fnatic's end, half HP, still relatively healthy, while their own mid tier 1, from all of that movement out, is getting chipped away by the Overlord creep. So Fnatic might find a freebie here.
That's a great way to use this creep. You pull heroes bottom with your own heroes. They will... Oh, he dominates a new one, so he doesn't even give up the gold. Well done from Jabs. Not feeding away 250 gold, so they bring them mid, and now they're going to pressure bottom. Fnatic are just, you know, tugging the little puppet strings, pulling heroes mid. Now they pull them bottom. A lot of TPs. They see Raven. They charge in. They hit 2. They even got Armel with this one. Carl, he goes for the 2-hero Dream Call. Only catches the Luna, though, so Armel, he's able to escape, luckily, but Weaver dying in the process. He was in the middle of that one, got bursted down by a Finger of Death. We'll see if Fnatic re-engage here with the Beastmaster creep and the vision that he provides. Primal Spring in, jump back to the trees. Lift is there to cancel the charge from Cuckoo. There's a dire sentry here. They're losing the Helm creep to start things off, and Armel in the trees is going to set up and kill off Zephyr. Dies to Jabs. I believe that's the fireball damage that actually got the kill. But they're keeping this tower alive. T1 throwing everything at Fnatic to defend these towers, except for the PA. All of this is happening while the PA farms, but the other 4 heroes, it's their job to defend towers and create space for PA.
Yeah, they've done a great job on T1's end. I mean, they find that kill onto Raven's Luna. Like, you kill off the highest net worth hero who's trying to join in this push. As mentioned, the only time the Luna wants to be there is if they can find an objective safely, and that wasn't the safest move out, as he does get caught out. T1 did still have the flanks. They actually did have Savage standing around there with dagger spams in the tree line, so he wasn't quite free farming as much as you'd want. He doesn't lose out in too much farm.
Yep.
He still manages to help out and kind of preventing kills from coming through, and they will find the top tier 1 20 minutes in. Very late tier 1 to take, but that will open up the top jungle a bit more. They replant some forward wards to cut off that farming area that Raven's been playing in and give Savage some room to actually get his BKB up. Fast BKB for Savage, but Battle Fury into BKB, into the Desert next, so not concerned about the damage, just wants to live through that control here.
They see Cuckoo, and they want him. Raven going to farm the creep wave. Doesn't have the disables to chase down the Spirit Breaker, who gets back to the trees. And we're going to see if Fnatic make another go in this bottom tier 2 tower. Often the Radiant team would maybe try and pressure Roshan. They've got a PA, so okay, Roche taking potential, but without the Desolator, it's a bit risky and not something you can really go for against the Beastmaster Hawk, even if Fnatic are playing 4 or 5 down in the bottom lane. So it does look like Fnatic are eyeing off at least to poke at this tier 2 tower. They're sending the illusions, the swarm, the Thunderhide with the Boars and the Luna Manta. They're just going to poke at this tier 2 in the safest way possible, but in comes Cuckoo. He's going to defend it with the charge, not letting it take too much damage because the rest of T1 have smoked up and they're going for a wraparound. They're trying to catch some of this backlines. Raven in particular on this Luna, he needs to be careful. Januel. Oh, Eclipse? Not sure what that was about. At the same time, great decision from Lion to run in and scout that area out, because if Luna had gone in there first, that would have been a dead Luna. So I think it was very calculated from Fnatic to send the Lion in. Like, hey, they may have smoked up to wrap around. And Januel's like, okay, I'll go check it out, bro. I got you. But I imagine just a misclick from the Luna there.
And likely not wanting to use that spell. It's a fairly long cooldown now, so Raven's definitely not going to be showing up into any of these fights for the next 90 seconds. And that's a bit of a window for T1 to play, maybe by a numbers advantage. With a BKB up on Savage, he's going to be a little bit more willing to join. As mentioned, without the Deso, you don't have that quick burst. So you might not be able to control something here as you want to and instantly burst them down. Fnatic has used this time working the map, forcing movements down bot really well. Despite the losses on their supports, they do have a 3k lead on net worth here on Fnatic's end. Just from working the camps, just from working the lanes, having Raven safely farm up, having the supports cop the heat, and it is building up. Even Armel's not falling too far behind, just keeping up with Savage's farm, even overtaking Carl by at least 2k. So our Quap is hitting her own item spikes. BKB up on Armel. Kaya Sanj, stat resist, spell amp is up. Gonna be a lot harder to pin down that Quap, and the control of T1 is very reliant on going together. So we'll see if they can find the angles, but still a lot of pressure in that bot lane, still forcing those heroes down here.
Yeah, I think as soon as they see heroes in other parts of the map, they're going to pressure down bottom to kind of force a rotation. We'll see if they hard commit. This time around, Raven has a BKB. That's why they maybe weren't willing to commit as much as last time, as does Armel on the Queen of Pain. He's on the front lines, willing to tank a charge or something. The dive bomb from the Hawks is up, so Beastmaster has that shard, can use that to kind of threaten an initiation. But it seems like Fnatic realized, okay, they brought 5 down here to defend. Let's not overcommit. Let's go get, let's go resource gathering. Let's farm out mid, top, try and take over other areas of the map. As they make their way through the top river, Cuckoo is nearby. I don't know if they actually saw him. They're actually smoking into the Roshan pit, but I believe they know where Cuckoo is, or at least have an idea of the rough area. They're just going to go into the Roshan pit. This is sneaky. Oh, I think it was spotted, though. The couriers are flying out. The couriers reveal where they are. They're flying over wards here. But this Roche is dropping too damn fast, and with the double damage, it's going to go. Really well done by Fnatic to get into the Roshan pit, and even though T1 scouted it out very quickly, they just couldn't respond in time.
Just great movement out, great read on the map, and as is tradition, Parker, DD, right when you want to take Roche, straight into the pit, cleared out, no problems. T1 though, seeing a bit of a split up here, might be able to find some punishment.
Yep. Just the Lion, but they'll happily take it. Force Fnatic to go into, a bit of a farm period where they need to push out these lanes and get their next item or two. Even though they've got the Aegis, they can't just rush headfirst into some kind of a push right away, particularly with, the Lion still dead for another 20 seconds. Gotta be a little bit careful. T1 have a lot of pick-off potential between the Spirit Breaker and the Puck.
They've still got that mobility to play with. They've still got that near global presence, or at least very long range presence with the Monkey King, Puck, Spirit Breaker. Even the PA, to an extent, can just jump in from a mile away. So you always have that jump potential there for T1. Fnatic, and they're still working the economy game really well. It's still 3k up. They haven't been able to widen the lead, so T1's keeping up in farm, not letting that gap grow wider. Savage has caught up in a big way to Raven as well, only a 200 gold difference with the Luna. So you don't have anything major that's separating the Luna and the PA at this point item-wise, and that should lead to a very equal fight from these cores when they do show up. They will be able to clear out this bot tier 2 now, though. I think with the Aegis up, T1's not going to be looking for that fight. So that's going to be the outpost. That's complete control over the bot jungle. But T1's already shifted gears. They're kind of playing that top. That's where their wards are. That's where they're farming. And that's where they're just trying to build up now.
If they stay there and Fnatic realize, I got to imagine Fnatic's going to try to pull them back because they're sticking around this bottom lane, threatening to go high ground. We'll see if they actually commit to this high ground push here or if they're just going to be content with bringing T1 back, forcing these TPs out because Raven on the high ground has that Aegis to kind of protect himself. Looking for that first life is T1. They'd love to kill off Raven's Aegis without committing any big spells, and they're going to come damn close to doing it. The bug is all that's left on him. 23 Savage tried to blink in, but couldn't quite finish him off. The salve is there, and Raven probably going to have to reset here with the Sonic Wave killing off Whitemon. That's it. It looks like the end of this push. Raven going to TP himself up top, so push is over for now. DJ in mid has the stolen Shikuchi still. He's managed to hold on to this one for most of this game. Just using it to great effect.
Yeah, they've been really disciplined on Fnatic, but even T1, that defense was really good. They managed to drop the Luna, nearly killing her off. I think Savage was looking for a cleave crit, and Raven was right outside cleave range. So if he was just maybe 5-10 units closer, that could have been Aegis gone. That could have been a very big forced fight coming out from T1. Maybe finding some punish onto Fnatic. Still, Fnatic got their reset. They do smoke up, and they're the ones to kind of look for that opportunity now.
Oh, they've got the blink lift. Telekinesis is there with the raw follow-up and the Hex. Carl in trouble. He's dead. The Eclipse coming out doing some good damage. And they're going to lose their first life of the Luna. It's enough to bring down just to support Monkey King, but we'll see if they can get some more here. RML charging forward. They want 23 Savage, who committed his BKB for this fight. He gets silenced up by RML's Queen of Pain. The Yule Scepter buys him some time to maybe escape his way out of this one. Nice. Oh, Spirit Breaker, Cuckoo. The right-click damage is too much of DJ. He steals the Nether Strike. Oh, sneaky, sneaky, sneaky. DJ's Rubik coming up big. Makes it a 3-for-1 fight in Fnatic's favor. And, you know, this gold lead had been remaining kind of steady. Now, suddenly, the game has been blown open from a 3-4K lead to a 9K lead, and Fnatic press forward.
They take that tier 2. They've got an opening for the high ground. That push potential from Luna is still in play. Nothing can really stop that. And T1, without the Wukongs, without the fast respawn on the Puck, they're going to lose some objectives. They're forced to use the Fortify. That'll buy some time for Carl to be back up, but they've got to find a really good angle to take care. At the least, Raven doesn't have those 2 lives, so if you catch him out, you might be able to find that trade in the kill.
Problem is, PA's BKB is still down for 10 more seconds. That's really what they need to fight this one. So without that, they can't engage, and they're just going to watch their racks go down. Once you lose your tier 3 tower, fighting into those bouncing glaives on buildings is just so damn impossible. They are trying to take a fight now with the BKB back up. They want to re-engage, but Fnatic will happily oblige. They get the Blink Scream silence onto the Weaver. Weaver won't get a chance to time-lapse here. Co-op getting low, but gets the BKB off. Armel now blinks away into the trees and will TP himself back to safety with the kill on the PA. This fight is just going to shit for T1. They're trying to salvage things with Cuckoo, charging through onto 2. Nice little charge through with the BKB, but there's no follow-up damage, so it's just full retreat. Zephyr caught out by the Hex. Boundless Strike will buy him some time, but it's not enough, as Zephyr gets caught off as well. The bottom creep wave's pretty far pushed out, so Cuckoo, knowing it needs to be addressed, because Luna could come right back and try push another lane.
And they will. Nothing to really stop it now without the big damage dealer in the PA this time. T1's defense isn't really there. You don't have much damage flowing through from Carl. He's just trying to find some farm where he can. So that could be the second set of racks coming here for Fnatic. They can't go for Mega Creeps. Tier 1 still protects top for T1. So 2 sets of racks is the most they can ask for, but it still goes fast. Glaives bounce again, as you mentioned, Parker. When those glaives are bouncing, they just can't come up. You just can't fight into it. It's just too much coming through from Raven with the added attack speed the Inner Beast gives you. No Thunderhide creep this time, but with that around, like plus 75 attack speed on 100% uptime. It's just ridiculous on Luna, and T1 now are playing on the back foot. 14k lead for Fnatic. They've worked the map well. T1 has not been able to keep up now. These fights are just so hard to control. They've got Dream Coil. They've got a way to play with it with the Wukongs, maybe even hoping for a shove out with a few lucky bashes from Cuckoo. But Fnatic's counterfight is just ridiculous. They've got BKB piercing spells on the Roar. They've got DJ stealing all the big spells as well with Rubik, getting his position right every single time. And that's something we've seen from DJ's Rubik for a long time now. But very, recently when he's been bringing it out, it's still there. Like, he just knows where to be. He knows what spell he needs in this engagement. And he always just lines up to get that perfect counter initiation going.
Oh. And they're just reading the map so well. They scanned the entrance to their jungle, catching T1, who are kind of going for what seems to be almost a desperation smoke. This is like the Hail Mary. Like, we're down 4 racks. Roshan potentially respawning like a minute from now. We need to make a move and get out and get active. But Fnatic are ready for it. They scan it out. They stick as 5. They're not creating any openings for T1 to find any, like, pick off on a hero by themselves. They're playing as this group that just you can't fight into. With the strength of Raven, he's just so strong and tanky. He didn't go for any kind of Silver Edge or MKB to address the PA evasion. He says, I just need to tank up so I can frontline with all these buffs, these auras. And, my team will deal with this PA. We can kite her. We've got stuns. We've got, the control of some of these, the Lion and the Rubik and the Beastmaster roar through BKB to make his life difficult.
Yeah. They've just got all the control they need anyway. They've got the damage sources from elsewhere for Fnatic. Tier 2 cleared out. Tier 3 under threat. For Fnatic, this is just a simple siege. No Aegis to protect, though, but Raven is fairly tanky here, and it's going to be hard to pin him down.
Charge through, Cuckoo. He commits, but that means his BKB is down. Goes on a new target, finds jabs, but there's no follow-up, at least not initially. Puck's thinking about going in, but they've already lost Cuckoo. Zephyr in the middle with the Wukong's command, but he dies so fast at that Eclipse. 23 Savage, he needs to get the big crits. He's trying to fight into Raven, but Raven is just unkillable with this Skadi, and the Sonic Wave will bring down PA. Force the buyback. Cuckoo gets the tips. Carl going in. Can he do it? He's on his own. He needs to find a way to bring down his Fnatic heroes, but he just hasn't got the answers. The Santino Puck, a thing of legends, but he's going to fall here. And 23 Savage with the buyback.
God.
It's going to turn into a dieback and an ultra kill for Raven. This is surely going to be GG. Cuckoo calls it, and Fnatic have guaranteed themselves second place in the SEA DPC, $28,000 US, 180 DPC points. That's what the teams are really competing for today. These points are what get you to TI. So the difference between second and fourth, 60 versus 180 points is a massive difference. And Fnatic guaranteed second place. What a comeback story for this team, John. This is a team that, had a kind of shaky-ish start to the winter tour, but they managed to bounce back and finish strong.
Oh, yeah, and you can see how happy they are in their faces, just very happy with this victory. I think for Fnatic, like, when they came in, there's been a lot said, but everyone knew the roster, right? But they didn't have the time to play with each other. They kind of used the first half of the season to kind of cook up their chemistry, and now it's showing in the second half, coming out in these tiebreakers really strong. We said it at the start, Cuckoo said his gift to Armel would be a crushing win for T1. It turns out that wins for Fnatic. So Armel still gets a late birthday gift from Cuckoo. T1 going to have to lick their wounds. They still have a series to play to determine third and fourth. So it's not all doom and gloom. There's still something to play for. It is going to smart losing that second place spot, but Fnatic just come out as such a strong team in these 2 games, Parker.
Well, these tiebreakers are guaranteed to be coming to an end. One best of one remains in Southeast Asia to determine third and fourth, as you said. So congratulations to Fnatic. We're going to head back to the panel as we break down this second game and get ready for that final best of one. We'll see you there.